So did you have a particular favourite enemy, Jordan, in Dead Space 2, or one that you think is scariest?
I thought the Ubermorph was pretty spooky, but I think my favourite's got to be the Stalkers. The Stalkers are really, really cool. Like, it's weird to see pack animals in games that actually work together. Games are a bit bad for like AI that works together properly, apart from like Fear, the original Fear, where the teams would try and flank you. Where in this game, you'd expect it because they're just mindless aliens. They'll just like come at you. They're just zombies. But them being smart and working together is actually really impressive, especially for the age of the game too.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it does a lot thematically for the game as well. I know that we mentioned like the theming of it before. I think in the first one, the necromorphs do feel more like mindless zombies, where in this one you feel some level of intelligence, like they're being driven by something. And as you get towards the end of the game, which we'll talk about in a minute, it is like they're being driven by the marker and you feel them like channeled to a space, you know?
Yeah, it's weird though. The marker, they point out, is man-made.
This one is, yeah.
But it's weird that they literally make it out of Isaac's blueprint, and it is a man-made thing that is dealing with organic material. That's so like weird. That's such a weird thing. That's really cool. I've never thought of it properly until like the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it scientifically, I suppose in a way it makes sense though, because we're made from atoms and so is metal. So it's like it's the same stuff really that's bionic. Whether it's bioorganic, I mean not bionic.
We're different, but we're the same.
We're all star stuff and zombies. Yeah, we are.
You're just a fleshy ball surrounded by bone, surrounded by meat. You're a ball of meat controlling a skeletal mech suit.
That's inside you with a bit of anxiety.
Your skeleton is always wet.
I don't think I need to know that, and don't talk about my insides like that.
Don't talk about my insides. You're not a proctologist.
My favourite enemy in this, I did think about the Ubermorph, and I think that I'm not as big a fan of this one as I am the Hunter in the first game. I think the Hunter looks scarier.
Was it not called the Ubermorph in the first game too?
No, I had to look it up. It's called the Hunter.
Is it?
Yeah, because I searched the Ubermorph Dead Space 1 and it never came up. It just came up with the one from this one with like the 5 red eyes, which I do kind of like that design, but it looks a bit like one of the Star Wars characters.
It does.
With the 3 eyes on top. So I was like, I don't find that scary. I feel like he's just going to go, Chuta, or whatever they say in Star Wars.
Why though? Is that so different from the other not Xenomorphs? Wrong franchise.
Necromorphs.
Why is it so different than the other Necromorphs? And did they ever explain where the Ubermorph comes from?
I don't think they do in this one. Maybe there's some like logs you can find that explain it, but I didn't come across it in this one.
Or maybe they were rushed for time or something. They were just like, here's the fucking thing. And it's like, okay, cheers.
It doesn't look like it's made from humans, that one, does it? It looks more like an alien.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm wondering if it's like a higher form of the Xenomorph, but I thought, unless, because I guess they don't just attack humans. They could attack other alien life forms. It could be based on something else, and they share the genetic code across a hive mind.
Yeah, they could be. I love a good hive mind. It could be a hive mind. Yeah.
It could be a hive mind. If I say hive mind enough, I'm sure.
I'm sure it's a hive mind to everyone. Hive mind. Hive mind. Hive mind. Say hive mind to the listeners.
Hive mind.
So the Ubermorph, as they say in Germany, the Ubermorph didn't always look like it did as we got it in this one. So I've actually put a little hyperlink in there for you if you want to click it. It was originally called the Bully, and someone found it. Well, you just at that hyperlink in the notes. He was like, look at this. Professional podcasting. I prefer that design. It was way scarier. It looks more like a person, a bit more fleshy, looks more like the Hunter. So I prefer that one. But I think for me, in this game, my favorite is probably the Dividers. I think it's way spooky when you first see it. It's a rare occurrence. I think you only see like 1 or 2. You walk into the room and it gives like a weird violin, like it's like it's picked violin music, and they're all lanky and they split apart into bits, and it's What did you think of those?
I actually really, really like them. They, to me, for some reason,
sexy like
what?
Sexy like?
Oh no, right. I thought you said, what does he like? I was like, I'm telling you. I did really like them. It's something about how rare they are and how they feel. They feel like they're controlling the other necromorphs. They just feel like they're kind of the masterminds or something.
Yeah, that might be the lab coat. Makes them look sciencey and smart.
Yeah, they're so rare. I don't know why. It just feels like they're like stalking you as well. and you're catching them off guard when you see them.
Yeah, like you've caught them plotting something. They're like,
yeah.
And then they come out, and the way they like shamble after you, they're too quick for being that big.
Yeah. Well, aren't they in the first one as well? Like more prevalent.
I think there's one. I'm sure there's only one or two in the first one.
I think in the first one, because they can like rip Isaac's head off and implant themselves.
Yeah, and the little head attaches on, doesn't it, and becomes a new head.
Proper weird.
Really gross death one, that one. I'll say that's one of the grossest deaths in it.
Very gross.
But yeah, I think they're great, and I like how they split apart into like hands, and like the music kind of still goes tick 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 as they're like running around.
Like they're crawling over a piano.
Yeah, like piano wise. They just feel to me a lot more threatening, and I think it's because there's very few of them in the game. So when you encounter it, you're like, whoa, what the heck is this? You just don't expect it when you go into that small room filled with steam. You just see the shape coming round at you, and it's, don't like it.
Not a fan. No, thank you.
I'm leaving. Yeah. What about you? Have you got any other?
I think the Stalkers, they've got to be my favourite. They've absolutely got to be my favourite. I do like the big brutish ones, but the original Necromorphs are really cool when you see them. Yeah. I do think it's a bit cheap in places that to make them tougher, they just change their color palette to like black.
Yeah.
It's kind of cheap, but like it is what it is. They needed a way to do it without redesigning everything entirely.
I wasn't sure why they changed color.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. What's the black?
No. They just look like they're covered in moss.
Yeah, like it kind of reminds me of the mold monsters from Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, like the black
7,
mold.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The black mold. Throw some bleach at them.
Don't use vinegar as well, because that makes chlorine gas, and that's toxic.
Get it? It's chlorine! It's funny because it's poisonous.
What about your least favorite? You got a least favorite?
Probably the little exploding babies. Don't take that
They're
out of context.
Annoying.
Don't.
That's a clip. Clip that out, Mimi.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mimi, please. Yeah. I wish there was a way to punt them. You're right.
Yes. Yeah, you just made me spit out my drink.
It'd be cool if there was more you could do with them, like because, like you
kick
can
the baby.
Pretty big. Kick the baby. There are things you can kinesis which are probably much heavier than the babies.
It's pronounced kinese, but yes.
So you can kinesis a lot of things that are heavier. Like, why can't you just kinese the babies immediately?
I did want to do that and throw them, like it. Yeah, because they explode.
They kind of explode, but not in a big area. So like, you won't be doing much. It'd just like lightly sputter.
No. Hey, look, there's enemies. Let me pick up this baby. Hiya!
If you're gonna throw babies at me, let me throw babies at others. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Make it fair. This is an equality sci-fi game.
Yeah. Like they've got infants that I can stomp. Like, let me throw a baby.
If I can stomp, why can't I womp?
Let me yeet the fetus. Let me yeetus the fetus.
Exactly. Moving on.
Yeah, that's hard cut there.
So, in Dead Space 2, is Isaac dead? Does he die? Do we have different endings?
No. What? No.
Thank you for listening to Part 3.
I feel like a cursory Google search could have informed you of that, Harris.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure. Like, I didn't want to Google what happened at the end, and I couldn't remember whether there were multiple endings or not.
You didn't want to Google. You just finished the game.
Yeah, I know, but that wouldn't take up more time. I'm a busy man.
Sadly, there's only the one ending, which is kind of grim. I feel like there could have been more, but it wouldn't have made much sense, really, with there being a third game that shall not be named.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Compared to the first two, it's pretty... They give you universal ammo.
They do. I don't even remember that. I don't remember the universal ammo thing.
The game is quite forgettable. But Isaac's story definitely felt like it had like reached an arc and just like completed it. He's like come to terms with the loss of Nicole. He's putting an end to blaming himself for her death, despite it not really being his fault. Like, who knows when these things had happened? Because spoilers, Isaac convinced Nicole to go to the USG Ishimura for a job, and then she died because of that recommendation.
Awkward.
Which is it's sad, and it does feel bad because Isaac's clearly carrying that weight, but he's finally kind of come to terms with it. And towards the end of Dead Space 2, he sends Ellie, this woman who he's met, away, trying to save her, like forces her to leave so that she will survive and he can save everyone. And I was like,
that's right, yeah.
That's amazing. Him being rescued at the end just feels like it's fine, but it takes away the stakes, because at the end of the game, he sat there and you can tell he's come to terms with what's happened.
Yeah.
And everything's... He's content. I much would have preferred an ending similar to like Resident Evil 8, where it's the tragedy of Ethan Winters and the tragedy of Isaac Clarke, where he's this man forced into these really tough situations, and he is doing things for the greater good of everyone else.
I think I agree there. I think it would have been really nice to end it with him dying. Do you know what I mean? Like he's the everyman. He's just an engineer. He's not a combat person who's supposed to save everyone. He's not this big marine, and yet he's the one who saved everyone. I think that would have been, I agree, I think that would have been a really nice ending to it.
Yeah, it starts with nothing being his fault and it ends with nothing being his fault. And
he fixed it. He's the universal engineer. He fixed it.
Exactly, and that it would have been really nice. Are there any endings you would have preferred to see if you could make your own?
I think I would have liked it to have been a little more open. Like, I almost felt like it should have ended as the marker was like crumbling down and he was just sat there, because then it could have left it open for a third one and you could have started that with him either being saved or even played as Ellie, maybe. Do something a little bit different in the next one where she carries on after Isaac and she knows what he's sacrificed because he's died, so goes to find the next marker or hears about the next one and goes to stop it. I do like having multiple endings, like maybe he dies or maybe he doesn't. That would have been nice. But I do like the ending that we do get where he looks over at Ellie in the ship and he has this really weird expression on his face and you don't really know what it's about. It's like he's gone insane and he might kill her.
No, do you not know why he does that?
No.
So at the end of the first game, he turns around and Nicole's there and jumps
and she shouts,
him.
Yeah.
And this game, in a lot of ways, is about letting go and forgiveness. And because Isaac's always blamed himself for what happened, and even the conversations he has when he lets Ellie go, is Nicole saying to him that you need to let go of me, and he says, I can't let go of you because then I'll have nothing. Which is, it's sad because he was so in love with her and it's his fault. He blames himself even though there's no way he could have known. So at the end of 2, he turns to do the exact same double take when he gets in the escape ship at the end of Dead Space 1, and instead of it being someone dead haunting him, it's someone he saved rescuing him.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, I didn't take it like that, and I don't know why.
Doesn't she say like, what are you looking at? And it's just like, oh, he's moved on. He's doing better.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's really nice. It is wholesome, but I would have much preferred if the died.
I didn't take it that. I was sure there was like a violin that like went, meh, like he was like looking at her like he was gonna kill her.
Jesus Christ.
I know, we took that in way different. Maybe there is a secret ending. Maybe I got the violin ending.
Maybe stomping 15 times, getting him going, motherfucker, was the switch where Isaac's brain snapped.
Shook it about too much in that helmet. Anything else that you can think about the ending? Like, we got a bit about the marker, a bit about the giant marker, make us whole again, and do we even get an inkling that there's another, like, the Brethren Moon and all that sort of stuff, or is that only in the third one?
I think it's only in the third one. Sadly, I think EA did the thing of Dead Space 2 could have been the ending, but they had to f it up because EA.
But, you know, money.
Yeah, exactly. And the only reason Dead Space 3 ended up the way it did is because EA set way too high an expectation on the sales of the game. Like, horror games are really difficult to sell, and I think they did a really good job with Dead Space 2 in it being somewhat horror, mostly action. But 3, they went entirely action, and that was the death of it, really.
I think it did. Yeah, I agree. Like, I think the only thing I really like about 3 is the setting. Like, I like the ice planet.
Yeah. It's very The Thing.
It is, and like that's one of the reasons why the divider enemy I mentioned in part 2 of this episode. Oh no, it was in this part, wasn't it? I really like that one because it's the most like The Thing from John Carpenter's The Thing. The way it like splits apart and moves into different life forms. So I think the references to that in the third one is something I really, really enjoyed.
I would love to see a Silent Hill like secret ending kind of deal for this game. Like, have you seen the secret endings to Silent Hill games?
Yeah, they're in one where it's a dog. Like,
yeah, the dog. It's literally a dog at a control panel, just like with everything. I'd love to. I'd love Isaac just walking in his suit, just like, just immediate mental breakdown as all the horror that's gone on is literally just like a fucking butterfly slamming against a button or something.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, I suppose the ending of 3 is kind of like that. It's the moon controlling it all.
Yeah, No.
No. Yeah, okay. So let's end it there.
Okay.
Is this a classic? Do you think Dead Space 2 is a classic?
It is. However, I'll give the caveat, each time I play it, it becomes less of a classic to me.
Ooh.
So,
Dramatic.
at the moment, I would say yes. But if I play it again, it might not be.
Okay, the first sliding classic.
What do you think? I'd say 1's better, but 2's still very good.
I still think it's good. I think it still is. I remember playing this at like the heyday of Xbox 360.
Yeah.
At the time of like, Gears of War 2 and 3, Halo 2 and Halo 3. Yeah, so yes, it's a classic for me. It's definitely a classic for me. There we go. So if you like this episode, guys, you can find us everywhere at griefburrito. Please leave us a 5-star review. Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube and let us know what you think of the episodes below. Jordan, where can they find you?
They can find me at the Mr. John Core on Twitter. Tweet me and tell me how much you dislike my opinions. I relish it. Harrison, where can they find thou?
He feeds on it. They form together like an alien form, and they can find me at Hazz Wild everywhere. Okay, we'll see you next week, maybe. Who knows? Goodbye.
Bye.
I think you're going to salute. Da, 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 burrito boys. Goodbye.
See ya.